welcome back to part 2 on how to fix PSO2 New Genesis and what hopefully Sega will do eventually from a straight up design aspect. If you missed part 1, link above, it talked about PSO Shop. And of course today we are going to continue with that discussion and we're going to go ahead and discuss how to fix AC scratches and how to actually make them more useful to the player base outside of just buying it with your real money. And of course, before we hop into all that, we have a wonderful sponsor. So let's go ahead and talk about that, and then we will jump into how to actually fix AC scratches for the player bases. Since we are in a kitchen, you probably know what that means. We got ourselves a Hellofresh, a sponsorship here. So of course, if you don't know what Hellofresh is, it of course a meal delivery service that will send you weekly of food for you and your family. And of course, with them sponsoring us, we got ourselves a wonderful deal below in the description. And of course, by clicking on that link, not only does it help the channel, but it will also get you some fantastic food that is super easy to cook, because they go ahead and give us the wonderful sheets that break down exactly how to cook stuff very quickly for you and your family. And once again, a big thank you to Hellofresh, and once again, link in the description below so you can get your hands on the meal for as low as $22 if you are here in the US. And with that, let's go ahead, let's get back into our video, and we're gonna cook us some food. So when it comes to AC scratches, as most of you probably know, if you don't, AC scratches is pretty much PSO2 New Genesis version of a loot box or a pulling system you might have seen in gacha games. The only difference when it comes to AC scratches, it is a cosmetics. It might be some enhancement for your equipment. It also might be some house items. It a whole bunch of like knick-knack in there you can get. But the main thing to know about it is, of course, these are on a time limit of how long they are around. Also, each single pull will cost you 2 USD. As well as that, it also 100% randomized between a couple dozen, might be 30, 40, 50 items that you can get your hands on from the scratches. And the main thing about them is not only that some of the way to get cosmetic, or I would say 80%, 90% the way to get cosmetics, is of course you can go ahead and sell these on the player market and make you some in-game currency by selling this stuff, which kind of start diving into the pay to win aspect. Check out my video above. I got all about pay to win and why that's such a thing in PSO. That could be very bad for the game. Check that video out. But nonetheless, when it comes to the discussion of AC scratches, and of course, I want to talk about how do you actually handle this. Once again, I don't think Sega going to do any of this, because let's be honest, a lot of the design choices here I'm talking about is mainly for the player base, and some of it might kind of counteract some of the stuff that might come from the microtransaction, and of course how they monetize. And of course, we are going to be discussing how to get the items into the player base hand outside of the player market and outside of pulling with real money. So let's go ahead and begin with the AC itself. So the AC scratches, since they do vanish over time, brings in a little bit of an issue when it comes to the new player experience, as well as, of course, the free-to-play player. Like, yes, you can spend in-game currency and buy the items off the shop, but the thing to keep in mind about that, the items itself are consumables, and once you use them, especially on the cosmetic side, once you use them, they are gone forever. So in return, there is items that will just forever be lost. Well, Sega do a reprint of them, which does happen, but at the same time, with how much stuff Sega put out through the AC scratches, a lot of stuff is and will be falling through the cracks. So that kind of adds a little bit of like FOMO to trying to collect the stuff you want. And of course, by that whole situation, if you're a new player coming in, there's a good chance most of the items might be far beyond your price range or might not any exist in the game anymore. So my way of fixing this, with the exception of being, of course, when it comes to license or crossover event, Since that is a whole nother can of worm of how much time do Sega have with it. How can they reprint them? Can they not? That a whole thing. So when we are discussing all that, we are just going to be discussing the stuff that Sega 100% outright own for a new Genesis. So to start off here, what I would love to see is, of course, when it comes to the scratch tickets, I would love for them to be tied to your account. I know that's not going to happen, but I personally would love to see Sega do the whole thing of if you pull AC, you keep the item, and then if you want to sell it, have other means we will get to in a moment. But realistically, that never going to happen. So let's just one with the ideal of we have the AC scratches as they are right now. In a week or two, when they get phased out, I personally would love to see either a two-thing help, maybe even both things happen here, which is, of course, you take them items, as long as they own the right to them, and you start putting them into content in the game itself. I know sometimes we get like recording stuff popping up in certain dungeon or certain events or battle passes as well. But with that being said, I would love to be like, okay, AC is done. It's officially gone now. Take the item, put them into content, and in return, have a motivator for the player base to not only be able to get their hands on it if you're a new player coming in, but also by putting it up in like a Wank 1 stuff, Wank 2 stuff, putting it in like Cannonball, putting in the field wastes, wherever they might have for content at the moment. Lucille, I will. Put this stuff in there as a routine or like a rotation that will start happening here for people to come in, do the content, and try to actually farm this. Because not only does it help new players coming in get access to items that they can't afford or might be gone, but also for some of the player base that very much love trying to collect this stuff or maybe trying to get a certain outfit that still is selling on the player market. I know this is going to hit the economy a little bit and bring down prices, especially once you can farm it. But honestly, I see that as a good thing as a whole, once again, for free-to-play and new players. But nonetheless, actually start funneling people back into older content. Because if you are a new player coming in, not only you missing out on the stuff, but also if you're trying to level through like battle sector or trying to find people to help you with like yellow triggers, that is very limited right now. Elite on ship 1. Let me know how it is on your ship below. But Elite on ship 1, going to the areas, you will pretty much see nobody doing that content anymore because everybody have moved on to Lucille or Fashion. Realistically, probably Fashion, or just stop playing to the net update. So this would be a good way to keep the content relevant, as well as keeping that content usable for new players coming in. So they are not just doing it alone, and in return, as we all know, what can kind of come from the isolation of MMOs, especially MMOs that are a few years older. And I personally would hope and believe that would help out a little bit here. But not only will it help out the content itself, once again, it will help out the player to get their hands on the items so they can get it for themselves or to sell. The other step I would take with this would be not only doing that, but if you want to get like more fancier, let's say the items that are tied to, pulling 80 times, like the more higher ticket items that is available through AC Grant. I would personally love to see some of that stuff, or maybe some variant to this stuff. I come into play through a NPC shop. It's not like we don't already have some NPC shop that sells stuff, but I would want a very specific type of shop here. So not only would they be selling some of the higher ends or variants on cosmetics, but have this shop actually tie to loot drop, mainly loot drop that not cosmetic. So I have a whole breakdown about how to handle loot. That will probably be an upcoming video in this series talking about that. But the one thing I would like to see is in this shop, if you're getting some lower end equipment, might it be some lower rarities or level weapons, armament, whatever, I would love for you to be able to take that content that you normally would just like sell for pennies through your menu or through auto sale, and allow you to actually take that up and trade it in for items. So let's say have it, well, hey, you want the Pacific like dress or bikini. It require like 10 of a currency, and then we turn for every wealthy 5 items you trade in, you get one of the currency that you can then use to buy the items. This is not far-fetched at all because we technically already had mechanics like this in PSO2 with like the actual weapon badges and whatnot. So ideally it will work somewhat similar to that. Instead of just having the currency dropping from enemy, have this tied to, of course, you trading in this equipment to break it down into currency as well. Once again, we have that with like trading AC item, trading in SG items. But I would like to see that expanded out a lot more. And in return for players that have a whole bunch of junk equipment that they don't want, would also be able to get their hands on this stuff. Or maybe you just having horrible luck because if it's Sega, let's be honest, the drop rate probably going to be garbage. So being like, oh, I'm going to do that content for this outfit. I haven't got this outfit. I am done. I'm done farming. And then you look at your inventory and be like, oh, I got a whole bunch of weldy, like 2 and 3 equipment. Let me just go trade this into an NPC and then just buy the item I'm trying to farm outright. And if you want to be specific about it, is of course, make it well the items that you buy from the shop, just make that account bound so that won't actually affect into the market at all. So the market itself, it only really for the for like 2 weeks will be AC. And then after the AC gradually gone, the rest of the economy is leftover plus what people are actually farming by doing content itself. Which once again will start leaning the player base into doing lower end content for this equipment and to help out new players as well. And that right there is how I personally would fix the whole AC grat scenario for free to play, for the economy, and for the players that actually want to pay the money, and also bring new life into older content for the newer player coming in. Once again, I don't think any of this ever going to happen because let's be honest, I'm talking about literally giving a way for player to get something that is not tied to spending real money. And of course, as it being a free-to-play game, we all know how monetization goes, and we all know this is something that will go against a few of the monetization, such as AC scratch, such as auto sale as well. But it still be nice to actually see. So in return, every player will have an opportunity to get what ideally they would want to get. And of course, at the same time, by doing this, and like I talked about at the beginning, of being a thing that probably wouldn't happen for like the crossover events with like the VTuber, the stuff with like Black Lagoon, like that type of stuff. 100% should keep it AC because I highly doubt Sega got the right to give that away 6 shield down the road. But nonetheless, that is how I would fix it and what I would love to see done to help out the player base, the economy, the content, and also hopefully keep the content of stuff outside of idling or hanging out in whatever zone to also allow people to hopefully have more interaction with each other outside of just pure fashion. But that's just my thought. Let me know below how you feel about this. And of course, like always, while you're down there, make sure to do thumbs up, subscribe, hit all the bells below. And like always, I will go ahead. I will see you in the next video as we are breaking down more PSO MMO content as we continue with our series of how to fix NGS. So with that, I will go ahead and see you in the comments.